Hello again, I'm back. I have my voice back. I have some free time, and as promised before, this is my ranking of the Marvel movies. So far, with including Ultron, there's 11 of them. So I'm going to go from worst to best. But on the whole, they're all pretty good. But I'll talk about it in length now. This is either just an interesting exercise for people that have seen all the films and want to chat about their work. You get a conversation going in the comments below or on my Facebook or whatever. Or if you haven't seen any of the films, maybe this would be an interesting guide to where to start. Maybe start at the top and work down. In terms of following the plot, it can get a little complicated if you don't follow them in order, maybe. But we'll worry about that later. Number 11, Iron Man 2. This won't come as a huge surprise to most people. Iron Man 2 is generally considered to be the worst one. Even at the time, it didn't get great reviews. It's quite choppy, and the two villains we have are pretty weak. It's not really very focused. It's not clear. It's the film about Vanko trying to get revenge, or is it about Justin Hammer trying to usurp Iron Man as this giant? Or is it about the government trying to confiscate the Iron Man suit? Or is it about Shield setting up for some more Avengers log? Or is it about Tony discovering the truth about his father? And there's quite a few plot threads going on, and no one of them seems to solidify itself as the main story. So it's all just a bit all over the place, to be honest. In a lot of ways, it's attempting to retread the timeline of the previous film. Tony learning a lesson about not being such a jerk and whatever, and it just doesn't have that solid base to branch off of. Number 10, Thor 2. Something about Thor 2 just doesn't quite work. Loki does steal the show, and that leaves us with the overall arc story of the Ether and Malekith does get pushed aside in favour of Loki's story, which means that we kind of forget it's happening. You do when you watch this film, kind of forget that Malekith exists until he suddenly appears and is doing something, and he's the end boss essentially. He's the end boss, and Thor has to defeat. But yeah, you kind of keep forgetting about his storyline until it reappears. You're much more interested in what's going on with Loki. And there's nothing. The thing about that is that it works. Malekith's story works, and Loki's storyline is great, but it just kind of it creates that disconnect. It creates that sort of clash that makes the film kind of messy. The action sequences are okay. The sort of the teleporting fight at the end works pretty well, but yeah, the something about it just doesn't quite mesh together. It's a little like Iron Man 2. It's a little unfocused. Number 9. Iron Man 3. This is where it gets difficult. Everything from here is basically a good film. Some of them great films, but everything from here upwards is a really good film. The Marvel have done fantastically well at this. The reason Iron Man 3 is hitting the bottom of my good section is that every time I watch it, it feels long. I like the film. I think it's great. I think what they did with the Mandarin is really clever and really good. I don't have a problem with it at all. The action sequences are amazing. Everything works, but I can't help but get over the fact that every time I watch it, it feels long. And every now and then, I think when I'm looking at the collection, I think I want to watch one at random. I always skip Iron Man 3 because I think I haven't got time for that. Now, it's not an enormously long film compared to the others, and I can sit through the Lord of the Rings extended edition without any trouble. I'm happy enough to watch that. But yeah, Iron Man 3 it feels like it drags a little for me, even though I like it. That's what's going to bump it to the bottom, I'm afraid. Number 8, Age of Ultron. I knew going into this list that Ultron was going to be in the bottom half. I still can't get over the very meh feeling that I had leaving it the first time. I do like it. I've seen it twice now, and I do like it as a film. But my first viewing, I was a bit kind of, oh, was that it? And that's stuck in my head now, and I can't get over that. Action sequences are great. All the new characters really work well. The old team back together, and it works. Works fantastically. It's interesting how it's tied in with Agents of Shield now. Like I said in my Ultron review, I'm a big Agents of Shield fan, and it bothered me that it didn't tie in, but it has kind of tied in now and kind of works in an interesting way. And they're not implicitly saying how everything fits together, but you can infer. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, something. Age of Ultron just doesn't quite work. I'm afraid it's appearing, in the low end of my list. Sorry. Number 7, Thor. I like Thor, but it took a couple of watches for me to get to liking it. It's very out there. At the time when it first came out, it was by far the most out there film that they had made. And the story of Loki, I think, doesn't quite add up at on the first watch. It's he's essentially a kind of petulant child, essentially attempting to prove himself to his father, and he's got this kind of plan that he's kind of making up as he's going along, and it doesn't quite make sense the first time you watch it. Second time, third time, I got it. All the ins and outs of it made sense to me. I understood what he was doing and why he was doing it, but the first time it didn't quite hold together. But it is a film I do really like. It is well worth checking out. It's got the fantastical element much more than probably any of the others. Even Guardians of the Galaxy thought about this the big mythical fantastical element that if you like that sort of thing, you can't really get that anywhere else. They haven't really made a comic book movie like this before or since. It's really cool. Number 6, The Incredible Hulk. It might seem weird to see this film so high up the list, but I actually really like it. I've watched it quite a lot, and I don't know, something about it. It seems a lot very small scale compared to a lot of the other ones, but I think it really works really well. I just like it a lot better than some of the others, and I think it's getting an unfair rap. It does feel like, I said this before, it does feel like The Outsider, what with Norton being recast. So it does feel like it doesn't really fit in, and we've lost all the subsidiary cast from that as well. But yeah, no, I think it's a really solid film. Blonsky's a really good villain. The big monster fight at the end is just great. You can't, I don't think you can. We haven't really got anything like that anywhere else in the universe. Here we've got Hulkbuster versus the Hulk now in Ultron, which is cool. But yeah, no, I like the Abomination fight at the end of the Incredible Hulk. Number 5, Iron Man. Iron Man, first film out, obviously, as it built the franchise, and it is a great film. It is. I was tempted to put it up higher, but I do think I like the rest of the films on the list more. The Iron Man and just because it started the franchise, it has got a sort of a soft spot for it. But yeah, no, it is a brilliant film. I really recommend watching Iron Man. If you haven't seen any of the films at all, just watch Iron Man, because it is the first one, and it is just genuinely great superhero movie. Number 4, Captain America. I really liked Captain America. Captain America is obviously my favourite of the first batch of films. I like war films quite a lot, like that sort of epicness, and everything else. And I didn't know Captain America at all, actually, before seeing this film. I didn't really know. I'd never read any of the comics, didn't know the character. I knew of the character, I had heard of its existence, but didn't know anything. I think he appeared maybe very briefly in the X-Men cartoon that I used to watch. I seem to recall like Wolverine knew him in the war, because Wolverine obviously is very old. But yeah, something like that. But yeah, really knew nothing about the character until the movie, and yeah, I really loved it. Really thought it was really great story that combined so many brilliant elements, and because it was so slightly detached from everything else, it was able to feel something more unique, I guess. In that vein, it might not shock you to know that number 3 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I think it's just a great pair of films. Just the back to back, they work really well. And The Winter Soldier is just a fantastic spy movie. It really is. It's got that sort of espionage and mystery element that I don't think any of the other films have really pulled off. The Captain America sort of solving the mystery of why S.H.I.E.L.D. has turned against him. It's a really good film. The fact that it resets a lot of the universe as well was really interesting. It is Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a fantastic film. Number 2, The Avengers, or Avengers Assembled, it's called over here. And just in case you confused it with the old Avengers, it seemed unnecessary, but I'm pretty sure it's just called The Avengers in America. Avengers is a great film. I keep saying that now because they're all great films. But The Avengers is just fun. It has a lot of slight problems. Again, it has that issue of Loki's plan not really making sense on the first watch. The same problem that Thor had. That you think, well, this is just stupid. But then the madness of it sort of makes sense on repeat watchings. You realise that Loki isn't really an evil genius. He's just kind of mucking about and like trying to he's sort of improvising and everything else. But yeah, once you accept that Loki's not the evil genius that he thinks he is, perhaps, it makes a lot more sense, and you can think of a lot of the problems. But the team coming together, all the elements, Hulk versus Thor, and everyone having the Iron Man and Thor and Captain America having a big scuffle in the middle. Yeah, so it all just works brilliantly, and it's just all comes together in a fantastic way. It brings everything that they've made so far together. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It really is that good. Number one, however, by far for me, is Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. It was my favourite film of that year. Second, sort of tied with Frank, because I really loved Frank. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy was is a brilliant film. It's got that epic space opera feel to it of your kind of your Star Wars and whatever's. And it's expanded the universe. And the weird thing is that even though it's adding a lot of complexity to the universe, it makes sense. It doesn't pander. It doesn't fanny about explaining itself. It just says, here's this. This is how the way things are. Just accept it. And yeah, it's just a great film. It does, and because it's detached enough from the rest of the Marvel movies that you can just watch it. I would happily recommend you just watch Guardians of the Galaxy, even though it's the 10th film in the series. Just watch it without any of the previous knowledge, and you'll be fine. You really will. It really is its own contained unit, and yeah, it just works fantastically well as a film in its own right, as well as part of the universe. It might be the only one that kind of does that. Everything else, probably because it's my number one, everything else sort of works well as part of the machine that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, the Avengers and Ultron only work as that. They don't work by themselves. Well, they do, but they're better off with everything else. And everything else ties together. But Guardians of the Galaxy is its own, works entirely by itself, just as much as it does. And then adding it to the MCU is just bonus. It's just the chocolate sauce on top of, or the cherry on top, as they say. It just is a great film even without everything else behind it. And that's what makes it my number one. A lot of them are great films. My bottom two, a bit dodgy, but everything above that is still a good film. You can't. Yes, there's the criticisms in it. I've been harsh to Ultron, but they're still good films on the whole. Even Iron Man 2. Even though it's the bottom of this, it's still a good film. It's not, okay, maybe not, but it's still, it's not terrible. There's definitely a lot worse. It's not Spider-Man 3, okay? We're not going that far down, down the hole. I think it'd be really strange when Marvel makes a bad film, and then surely they're going to make a bad film. You'd think they've got to make, something at some point can't work. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has had a choppy start. That's kind of been their one cock-up thus far. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 just didn't quite work. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming to its own now. I stuck with it, and I'm really glad I did, because I really think it's working now. But yeah, it's kind of been the one mistake thus far. But yeah, no, it's going to be very, very hard to imagine things going wrong. But yeah, that's the list. That's everything else. Do watch Guardians of the Galaxy. I thoroughly recommend. Watch Daredevil on Netflix if you can. Again, it's detached enough from the universe that you can still buy into it, and it's a great little sort of dry crime thriller. Yeah, that's all of that. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos. I've got my Ultron review. Put 2 of them out now. And please like and subscribe, and find me on Facebook and Twitter and blah blah blah. And all the links below and dotted about. And thank you for watching. And that's the end.